Hello, everyone. My name is T. Hunter, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and thank you so much for coming back. My little hiatus was not planned. I was considering whether I would pivot away from reaction videos, and then this current season of Love is Blind popped up, and I said, yeah, I'm not done with reactions. I'm not pivoting. So let's talk about it. So for those of you who do not watch the show Love is Blind, the premise is for people to make an emotional connection and decide whether or not they want to marry the person that they have a connection with sight unseen. So backstory for AD and Clay. I noticed that AD had two strong connections. There was Matthew and then there was Clay. So AD started getting closer to Clay after Matthew went home because Matthew was a mess. He pretty much used the same template for a potential proposal with not only AD, but also another young woman named Amber, ironically. So I was not expecting AD to stay in the experiment. I thought that she would leave once her top connection exited as well, but she decided to stay in the experiment, pursue her connection with Clay, and they ultimately did get engaged. So red flags that I noticed with this couple during the short period of time that they were together and planning their wedding are as follows. AD did tell the women in the women's living quarters that AD is the type of guy she would normally go for. And that goes completely against the premise of the show. The hope is that you will be able to make a connection with someone that will lead to a hopefully healthy connection and relationship, even if it's with someone that you wouldn't typically go for. AD also confessed that she was such a fix-a-H. I will not say that word. So the G-rated version could be that she had a Bob the Builder mindset. Can we fix him? Yes, we can. Spoiler alert, no, you cannot. You can only fix yourself. So she would take this approach with the men that she has dated in the past and kind of have the practice on me approach instead of requiring a man to do the necessary work that's worthy of a committed and hopefully lasting relationship with her. Clay confessed that he did have insecurities in the pods around being loved for who he is versus his looks and his accolades. Clay also shared that he was much more comfortable leading with looks and achievements when it came to relationships. So I wonder if being vulnerable and trying to explore emotional intimacy was just something that made him feel uncomfortable and he would shy away from it. Also, Clay repeatedly expressed that he was worried about cheating. He told AD that he was not confident in his ability to be a husband after the pods. And he even explicitly stated that he was not ready for marriage at this time. Now, Clay did give us more context by sharing that he has a history of witnessing dysfunctional relationships in which the men in his life were not faithful to their women. His biggest, and I believe most influential example of this, his own father. While his parents did divorce after a 23-year marriage, Clay acknowledged that his father started cheating in year 7, and even more shockingly, he took young Clay on some of his infidelity trips where he would meet his other women. This clearly impacted not only Clay's view of his father, but ultimately his perception of marriage and his ability to do it right. Now, instead of these huge revelations from Clay giving AD pause, she appeared to be impressed with his willingness to open up to her. Now, I'm not knocking that. It is great that Clay did share his honest thoughts and feelings around marriage and his hesitation to get married. However, I would have liked to see AD slow down to thoroughly process how these bigger concerns would not only impact her, but also their relationship should they continue. Instead, AD told Clay that she would be okay with a no at the altar and that she was not afraid of this potential outcome. We get to the wedding day, and AD says yes to marrying Clay. And Clay told her that he did not believe that it would be responsible for him to say yes. He said that he was not ready for marriage and he wouldn't be doing the right thing by agreeing to marry her in that moment. Now, unpopular opinion. I do not think that Clay completely blindsided AD. He told her multiple times during this season that he was not ready for marriage. While they were doing the wedding planning and putting the guest list together, he explicitly asked AD, why did they have to get married at the end of this experiment, which only lasts a matter of weeks? Given that the premise of Love is Blind is for you to get engaged and marry someone that you didn't know beforehand, yes, for sure, Clay was on the wrong show. But he did not hide the fact that he wasn't ready for marriage from AD. So, my thoughts and reactions during this season, Clay was giving AD an out. Not in a sense of, I'm trying to make things so uncomfortable for you that you will do the dirty work of dumping me and terminating this relationship. No, more so, Clay was giving her the necessary context to inform her decision of whether she would leave him or stay with him prior to their wedding day. And in my professional opinion, when it comes to partners communicating that there is a roadblock in their relationship, it pains me when I see people try to move around said roadblocks too quickly. When you do that, you can communicate one of two things. One, you don't care about your partner's fears, concerns, and thoughts. And two, you don't take your partner seriously whenever they voice an opinion, a perspective, or a stance that's different from yours. Now, I do believe that Clay would benefit from individual therapy so that he has a safe space to effectively process through his past wounds. Had therapy been the first place in which Clay opened up about his dad's infidelity trips, perhaps a therapist could have asked him, hey, does your mother know this detail? And I also would have hoped that the therapist would have then assisted Clay with processing his thoughts around how such a major revelation would affect his mother. I know that people are saying that AD was blindsided at the altar. I think that the main person blindsided through all this was Clay's mother, Rita. While she knew that her ex-husband Trevor had cheated, and she even forgave him for the infidelity despite them getting a divorce, she did not know that Clay was taken along for the ride on some of these occasions when Trevor was cheating. I wonder if it could have been less hurtful to Rita had Clay told the therapist first and then his mother, either one-on-one or in a counseling session, had Clay and the therapist thought, hey, it could be more helpful than hurtful. This mental health professional to be present and helping to, support them through such a major conversation. Another helpful intervention that a therapist could have provided would be a session between Clay and his father. Now, in a structured and safe setting with a therapist, Clay could have had an opportunity to voice how Trevor's example of a husband and now a divorced man who has a revolving door of relationships has shaped Clay's mindset and his behaviors when it comes to marriage and long-term commitment. Clay could even share with Trevor how his choices have contributed to his fears of cheating and therefore his internalized belief that he cannot be a reputable husband to AD or any woman at this time. I don't think that such an intimate and influential disclosure around the infidelity trips should have been shared on camera. I wish that Clay had shared this detail solely with his parents. The world didn't need to know this much about his family's dynamics. It's just simply not our business. And even though he felt comfortable opening up to AD and sharing this with her, I'm also thinking, how does this affect her thoughts? Not only about Clay, but her perception of his parents. She is going to potentially marry into this family. And her father-in-law has a history of cheating, has also taken his young son to meet some of his mistresses, whether he defined their role or not. And her mother-in-law was none the wiser until this experiment. It wasn't until Clay decided to go on Love is Blind and to share such intimate information about his parents' marriage that she then found out, oh, not only were you cheating, but there were other details that I didn't know that also hurt me, despite the fact that we are now divorced and I have told you in the past that I've forgiven you. This stuff is still affecting our son, and now I'm hurt again because everything wasn't laid out on the table when we were still married. I said all that to say that reality TV shows, they are not safe spaces. Airing out our grievances to the world without ever telling the individuals that we have an issue with directly, that can leave us in ruins. This practice of telling the world on your social media platforms or even on a reality TV show, all of the things that your family has done wrong to you, that can break your relationships beyond repair. And not only does this approach damage the relationships, but it also stains the character of each party involved. We have to be so careful and intentional about what we share and our choice of words when we are emotional, for sure. Final thoughts. If I could have a conversation with AD, I would say, you are enough, ma'am. You are more than enough. And it is not your responsibility to do the work for Clay or anyone else in order for a man to get the healthy mindset and heart posture necessary to be in a committed relationship and ultimately a healthy marriage. Clay has to do the therapy, coaching, finding accountability partners, and so on for himself. And AD is not required to stay in Clay's life while he does his work, nor is she obligated to return after he has healed, grown, and is ready for marriage. It's her choice to take a break or to be done with him indefinitely. Lastly, marriage, it is a mirror. You'll learn so much about yourself because your spouse will reflect what you're doing and how you're showing up on a day-to-day basis. However, the marriage mirror is not a substitute for the mirror that you will find when you're doing your own work, whether you're doing that in therapy or not. Each person has to develop insight, self-awareness, and develop their own character before they try to date or marry. Why? Because no one else can do that work for them. You can love someone and still not be good for them. Choose not to take on everything that comes with them. Choose to do things in God's timing versus your own. Want time away from them after betrayal has occurred. And lastly, you can love someone and still set boundaries with them. So that is all that I have to say about AD and Clay from Love is Blind Season 6. I'm excited about this reunion, and yeah, to say that this season has been interesting would be an understatement. But I'm glad that I had a reason to come back, film a video, and reconnect with you, my audience. So I'm thankful for it. If you have enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more. And do not forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a future post from me. Once again, thank you so much for coming to my channel and spending time with me. You could be anywhere, but I truly appreciate you taking time to watch this video. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.